Who are you?
My name is Chantal Lamarre. I'm a professional commercial photographer.
How do you accomplish your goals?
Probably by trying to give the observer a different point of view on photography.
What motivates you?
I want people to take the time to see things that they would normally not see or overlook. I want them to be able to dream a little bit more.
And last question, why do you think a company needs art?
I think for the environment, to make the people maybe more serene, a bit more relaxed in their environment, I think it's really important.
Perfect, and thank you so much, Chantal, to be part of this podcast. Really enjoy that you participating here.
Thank you for your time.
Tell me a little bit about you and your background.
Okay, I'm French-Canadian, born and raised in Montreal, Canada. I've studied photography from the age of 20 after somebody I know who introduced me to photography. It was a process of 3.5 years of studying. After that, I worked nearly 20 years into commercial photography, where I was doing mostly cosmetic and perfume, also a bit of event photography, but it was mostly products photography. And then life brought me to Europe, where I had to change a bit my direction into photography. And because of language barrier, I had to find another way to express myself with photography. And this is probably why I chose art. It was talking to a larger group without the actual language.
Can you go a little bit more back and tell us how you started taking pictures and photography? How were the first steps?
Actually, it was somebody I got to know when I was around 20 years old that got me into photography, brought me into a dark room. And for me, it was something I absolutely did not know. And after that day in the dark room, it was not even after the first day, but I mean the first moment. This was really, for me, like we would say, falling in love instantly with photography. It was for me all the possibilities and the way to be creative like I was not used to be. And I right away needed that in my life. I knew it.
And can you describe a little bit the first moments when you got into photography? How was the feeling? Was it something you said, this is the thing I want to do?
Right away I knew. It was like, you cannot describe it. When you do something and you have butterfly in your stomach, and this stayed with me up to this day. There's not one time when I use my camera that I don't relive that feeling. It's something stronger than I can explain. It's just, it's part of me, it completes me. Photography completes me. I cannot say any better. Yeah.
That's great. That's great. So, taking pictures, photography is a part of art. My question is, what do you think about art? What is art for you personally?
Art for me is when you allow the person looking at what you're doing, you allow them to dream, you allow them to see something that they would normally not see, and allow them to maybe project themselves into your art without judging it, but just being in front of it. Like I always say, I like when the people are just tilting their head and say, oh, what's that? Oh, that's nice. I'm trying to get something that would develop emotion into them. When they're looking at it, that they're just feeling like it reached them somehow.
And do you think your art does your, how do you say, your art does this?
I certainly hope so. I think art can reach people in different ways, and I'm really hoping it does that, because when I present something, it means a lot to me, and I hope I'm able to communicate that with the people.
And behind us there is actually a picture of you. You took the picture. Can you a little bit describe your art? You said don't look at the obvious, focus on something different.
Exactly. I'm trying always to show the people what they don't see at the first look. If they're in front of a subject, I don't want to look at the subject itself, but what the subject can bring us. In this case, it's a reflection of the subject. And by going into those little details, you bring another world completely, another way to look at things. And that's really what I'm trying to do all the time.
But why? Is there a reason?
The reason, because not enough people take the time to do it. Not enough people take the time to stop and look. They will see, but they won't look properly, I think. I think it's important to get into the details.
And do you think over the years, especially now with social media and everything, this increased, or do you think this stayed the same?
I think it's increased really a lot, because you get to have much more people showing what they're doing as compared to 20 years ago. It's more open to everybody. It's in reach to everybody. So easy, without having to pay, without having to go to an exhibit. It's from your home. You can access thousands of different artists easily.
And this is something you do all the time in your pictures, or do you focus even on, not small details, but on other things, or?
To focus on the detail has always been there, I have to say. But in the last 10 years, I think I'm doing that more and more. Nearly 90% of my photography will be on small details or on reflections. I love reflections. So I would say yes, it's becoming a bigger part of the way I approach photography.
And reflections, what exactly you mean with that?
For example, you're walking in a town, you have a building that will reflect in such a puddle of water. Instead of taking the building, I will take the puddle of water with the building and then show this to the people instead of the building itself, for example. Or it could be somebody walking by and I will just focus on the puddle and then wait until the subject passes in front of it, and then I will take the picture as the lady passed by. Then you will have the reflection of herself in the water instead of the actual person. Yeah.
And did you came up with that idea, I don't know, on a specific day or occasion? Or
it was an accident. It was an accident, actually. It was about 10 years ago on a vacation. This is one of them. I was taking pictures of my daughter on the beach, and by accident, I saw it. Like, I just saw it. It just revealed itself to me. And then I thought, wow, okay, this is much better than, I don't want to say much better than the subject, but it was a better approach to look at things. And it was really from that day on. And that's why in the last 10 years, since I saw that, and it kind of moved me, and it wanted me to try and explore that more, which I did.
And what do you think people that are looking at your art pieces, what kind of feeling you want to give them when they look at your art?
I want them to dream. I want them to dream and to make their own story of it. I don't want to tell them what they should feel or what they should see. I want them to question what they see. I want them, like I said, to tilt their head and say, oh, okay, this is giving this to me. This is what it makes me feel like, or this is what it makes me think about. I don't want to tell them all the story. When they look at it, I want them to create their own story from the picture.
Mm-hmm. That's amazing. So my next question is, it's always important for artists to have like customers, of course, right? A potential customer can be some businessman or woman, someone from the business sector. Mm-hmm. In your opinion, what do you think some business man or business woman can learn from artists?
I would not know what they could learn from it, but always I come back to how a piece of work would enlighten their environment. So, for example, if somebody would purchase this picture and have it on their wall at the office, if it brings them a piece of calmness, for example, this is what I'm aiming for, and this is what I'm hoping that such a piece of art would bring to their environment.
Mm-hmm. And maybe the other way around, what do you think can artists learn from the business sector?
A lot, actually. I think it's such, for me, it's two different worlds. I would say the business sector is more structured. Mm-hmm. As for the art, is more, we would say flou in French, like not so structured. It's actually the opposite. I think it's difficult for me to answer that question. I really think it would, I'm not able to answer it, actually. I really don't know how what it would bring me. Probably the stability, the structure and the stability, which is exactly what I don't have in my photo, probably.
Yeah, but do you think if you have exactly this, the structure and stability, you think that someone can be creative as well?
Oh, of course. I think so. Yeah. In a different way, probably, but because, art is not defined just by one specific way of doing art. I think everybody can be an artist in their own way.
And of course, you're an artist, but would you describe you a little bit also as a businesswoman?
Actually, I have a very good background on business because I worked as a commercial photography for 15, 20 years nearly. And so I had always direct contact with my clients, so dealing with the price, the schedules and all that. So I have that part. But this type of photography allows me to be away from that structure, which release a lot of good energy, I find, to be honest.
That's great. So I already mentioned it, someone from a businessman, a businesswoman can be a potential customer for artists. Is there something you're expecting your potential customer to be or to have?
No, I'm not expecting, no, I don't have expectation. I just hope that they will feel something and understand a bit what I'm doing, and I hope it will move them. That's what I'm hoping when I'm doing something.
So this is actually already my last question. Tell us a little bit about what can you offer your customers. We already mentioned your art. What kind of art can a customer expect from you?
Okay, this specific exhibit I'm trying to show this series, for example, with the reflections, but I will also have more figurative photography. So it will be really, I'm trying to show maybe different facets, not just one direction, but that I can also do a bit more technical photography, if you want, that I will be more precise into the way that it was taken, not so much like those with the reflection, but really more static things. So I think there will be different ways that they get to know me through the pictures.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty much it then, Chantal. Okay. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for your time also.
Hope to speak next time with you again.
With pleasure. Thank you.